Ever come home to find your dog acting all weird? Maybe they're giving you the side eye, avoiding playtime, or hiding under your bed. Seriously though, those are signs your dog might be straight up not having a good time. And trust me, some of these signs are so sneaky you might miss them. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to break down 13 signs your dog is sending an SOS, and what you can do about it right now. Okay, first up, let's talk about those furry little introverts who suddenly decide they're allergic to human interaction. Dogs are basically tiny, furry, social butterflies, most of them anyway. So when they start pulling a disappearing act, it's like a giant neon sign flashing, "Something ain't right." Think about it. They live for your attention, right? So if they'd rather hang out in the linen closet than snuggle on the couch, you gotta figure out why. Could be something as simple as a change in routine, a new house guest they're not vibing with, or even a weird smell that's freaking them out. Alright, next up is a biggie. The sudden disappearance of the zoomies. You know what I'm talking about. That magical time when your dog turns into a furry little tornado of pure joy and chaos. It's like they're on a mission to spread happiness and energy all around. But what happens when the zoomies go kaput? When that whirlwind of excitement just stops? Listen, if your dog is usually all about that fetch life, but suddenly treats their toys like they're made of used gym socks, you gotta pay attention. It's not just a phase, it could be something more. This could be a sign of stress, boredom, or even a physical ouchie they're trying to hide. Maybe they pulled a muscle or have a hidden injury. Imagine if you woke up one day and your favorite things just didn't spark joy anymore. That's kind of what's going on in their furry little heads. It's like their world has lost its color. So, what do? Well, first, rule out any health stuff with a trip to the vet. It's always better to be safe and ensure there's no underlying medical issue. Okay, we all know dogs love their beauty sleep. If your dog starts clocking in more ZZs than usual, or if they're having trouble settling down at night and are basically up all night like a college student cramming for finals, something's up. It could be stress, anxiety, or even those physical ouchies again. Think about it, when we're feeling under the weather, sleep is either our best friend or our worst enemy, right? Same goes for our furry little pals. So, if your dog's sleep schedule is suddenly out of whack, it's time for a vet visit to rule out any medical mysteries. Let's be real, dogs are basically furry little garbage disposals. So when your furry vacuum cleaner suddenly turns their nose up at their food bowl, it's time to sound the alarm. A loss of appetite can be a sign of a whole bunch of things, from stress and anxiety to, you guessed it, those pesky physical ouchies. Imagine if your favorite food suddenly tasted like sadness. You probably wouldn't be too keen on finishing your plate either, right? On the flip side, some stressed out pups deal with their anxiety by channeling their inner cookie monster and eating everything in sight. Either way, if your dog's eating habits have done a 180, it's time to play detective. Alright, let's talk about those moments when your furry little angel turns into a tiny, adorable agent of chaos. You know, those times when you can't help but wonder if your dog has a secret mission to test your patience. We've all been there, right? You come home to find your favorite shoes looking like they went through a paper shredder, and you can't decide whether to laugh or cry. Your couch cushions resembling a pile of fluffy confetti, as if your dog decided to throw a party in your absence. Or your backyard transformed into a miniature excavation site, with holes that make it look like you're searching for buried treasure. Destructive behavior is often a dog's way of saying, "Hey, I'm bored out of my mind. Entertain me, peasant." They need stimulation and activities to keep their minds and bodies busy. Think about it. Dogs are full of energy and they thrive on physical and mental exercise. If they don't have a positive outlet for all that pent-up zoomy power, they're gonna find their own ways to entertain themselves, often at the expense of your belongings. So, it's crucial to provide them with toys, activities, and plenty of exercise to keep that destructive behavior at bay. This one's a little more serious, guys. We're talking about those moments when your usually chill dog suddenly transforms into a furry little land shark. Growling, snapping, barking, basically, they're channeling their inner werewolf, and it's not even a full moon. Listen up, because this is important. Aggression is never okay, but it's also never random. There's always a reason behind it, and it's our job as responsible dog owners to figure out what's going on in their furry little heads. Sometimes, aggression is a sign of underlying pain or discomfort. Other times, it's rooted in fear or anxiety. If you're concerned about your dog's happiness, subscribe for essential tips and insights. Number 7, whale eye, showing the whites of their eyes. Alright, let's talk about the whale eye, which, let's be real, sounds way cuter than it actually is. Basically, it's when your dog gives you this side eye that shows off the whites of their eyes. And trust me, it's not because they're trying to be seductive. This is your dog's way of saying, dude, I'm officially creeped out right now. It's like their silent plea for help. It's a sign of stress, anxiety, or even fear. Your dog might be feeling overwhelmed by their surroundings or a specific situation. Think about it. When you're feeling uncomfortable or threatened, you probably avoid direct eye contact, right? You might even turn your head away to avoid the source of your discomfort. Same goes for our furry little pals. They use their body language to communicate their feelings, and the whale eye is a clear signal. So if you notice your dog flashing the whale eye, it's time to back off and give them some space. Respect their boundaries and try to understand what's causing their distress. Number 8, curled up sleeping position. We all know dogs have a million different sleeping positions. They're basically furry little contortionists who can somehow fall asleep in the most awkward positions imaginable. But there's one sleeping position in particular that can be a sign of anxiety or insecurity, the classic curled up ball. When they tuck their little paws under their body and bury their nose in their tail, that's the one. It's their way of protecting their vital organs and making themselves as small a target as possible. So if your dog is constantly sleeping in the fetal position, it could mean they're feeling a little stressed out. Number 9, displacement behaviors, yawning, licking lips, paw lifting. Alright, let's talk about those weird little things dogs do when they're feeling awkward or uncomfortable. You know what I'm talking about, the excessive yawning, the lip licking, the paw lifting. It's like they suddenly forgot how to dog. These are called displacement behaviors, and they're basically your dog's way of saying, dude, this situation is weird. So, if your dog starts exhibiting these displacement behaviors, it's a sign that they're feeling stressed, anxious, or just plain uncomfortable. Okay, this sleeping position is basically the opposite of the curled up ball of anxiety. It's called the lion pose, and it's when your dog sleeps with their head resting on their paws, their legs stretched out in front of them, and their chest puffed out like a furry little superhero. Now this might look super comfy and relaxed, but it can actually be a sign that your dog is feeling anxious and on high alert. Think about it. They're basically ready to spring into action at a moment's notice, so if your dog is constantly sleeping in the lion pose, it could mean they're feeling a little on edge. Okay, eye contact, it's the window to the soul, the ultimate sign of trust and connection. Unless you're a dog who's feeling stressed, anxious, or scared out of their furry little mind. Listen, we all know dogs love making eye contact with their humans. It's how they say, I love you, feed me, and please stop singing along to that song. But when your usually affectionate pup starts avoiding your gaze, you're holding up a giant mirror reflecting their deepest insecurities, something's up. Avoiding eye contact is their way of saying, dude, I can't even right now. My anxiety levels are at an all-time high and your loving gaze is just making it worse. Alright, let's talk about tails. Specifically, low tails and tucked tails. The universal signs of a dog who's feeling less than enthusiastic about life. When their tail goes from wagging like a furry little metronome to drooping between their legs like a sad, droopy, well, you get the picture. A low or tucked tail is basically your dog's way of saying, I'm not in the mood for your shenanigans right now. It's a sign of fear, anxiety, stress, or even submission. Their tails are basically mood rings, and a low or tucked tail is a clear indication that they're not feeling their best. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about those moments when your dog suddenly transforms into a furry little licking machine. We're not talking about the occasional post-meal cleanup or the adorable way they groom themselves. We're talking about the obsessive, non-stop licking that leaves their fur looking like a wet mop and you wondering if you accidentally adopted a tiny, furry version of Sisyphus. Listen, dogs lick for a variety of reasons, but when it becomes excessive, it's often a sign of stress, anxiety, or even an underlying medical condition. Think about it. When you're feeling stressed, you might bite your nails, twirl your hair, or pace back and forth. It's a way to release nervous energy. Dogs, they lick. So there you have it. 13 clear signs your dog might be secretly sending out an SOS. Now, I'm not saying you should turn into a helicopter dog parent who analyzes their every move, but it's important to be aware of their body language and behavior. Remember, our furry little pals can't exactly write us a strongly worded letter about their emotional state, so it's up to us to be observant and pay attention to the subtle and not so subtle signs they're sending us. And if you want to make sure your dog is thriving and not just surviving, check out our video on 10 clear signs your dog is thriving with you. It's packed with tips to keep your dog living their best life. Before you go, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what weird behavior your dog has shown when they're upset. We might feature your story in the next video.